Welcome moms and sirs to this channel webinar pages, your training and development channel where you can learn, lead, and make a difference. If this video has helped you, please click like, subscribe, and share in return. We will be very grateful.
Good day, everyone. Maybe you're asking these questions. How can I become a better speaker? How can I start speaking well? What are the effective ways to become a better speaker? So if you're that person, here are the 5 steps that will make you improve your public speaking. How to become a memorable speaker. These are the tips from Toastmaster Cyril Junior Dim, the 2022 champion public speaking. Tip number 1 is to find your speaking style. Your speaking style is your conversational style. You use the wisdom of your daily conversations to public speaking, then factored up to the size of the audience, so that even though they are part of the audience, they feel that they have been spoken to individually. Then remove overly casual elements like overhand or the overuse of hand gestures. So the formula that coach was using was conversation, factored it up to the size of the audience, meaning your daily conversation, you apply them to a greater number of audience, minus or subtract to the overly casual elements. So how are you going to practice that formula? So you practice talking to observe strangers using the pitch. So you go to downtown area and you talk to observe strangers and you say to them, "Hey, I've got a story. It's a 7-minute story that I'd like to tell you that might change my life. Do you have 7 minutes to listen to me?" The goal of that exercise was to make your entire speech 700 words speech feel like a conversation. If you can present that speech for 1,000 people to a 1 person, you can say that you have checked the conversational aspect. The audience size is how to use the stage, how to use your voice. Discovering your speaking style needs to go to a long period of time observing how you speak. So you need to observe yourself speaking to recordings, videos, media. You do that, you become aware of the things that you do subconsciously but come off as natural. Then you eliminate those things that makes you unable to connect to a bigger audience. Tip number 2 is to find your speaking material. According to Coach, the currency of any memorable speaker is the story. Be an impactful speaker by telling your stories. What have you learned in life that you have learned? What are the mistakes that you have made? From all of that, how have you grown? Any story is about 5 seconds, according to Matthew Dix. The 5 seconds that something in your life changed significantly. The 5 seconds when you realize, hey, this is home. the 5 seconds you said, I should leave. Any stories about that? So if you can paint a picture of those 5 seconds, that something changed in your life, all of a sudden, you become human. And the people really want to connect with you. Where are you going to find these stories? If we will play a game right now. First, last, best, worst. When I give you a prompt, I'm certain that you can tell me the story. All of us, as these stories, we tend to lose them in time to memories. So you don't find stories of universal value. You capture all your stories and realize their value. According to Cyril Junior Dim. So what can we do to be ready when the opportunity presents itself? We call it the little ceremony. So you need to exercise collecting your stories and reflecting them, making sure that when the opportunity presents itself, you can go back to that bank of stories and pick a story that fits the situation. So the exercise is every day. Think, what is the most profound story for that day? What is the most interesting thing that happened in your day? You need to write just one sentence and reflect on the values or the realizations of that story. Stories are the most powerful tool because stories create emotional investment. And when they invested their emotion, people listen. Most importantly, they remember. Tip number 3 is to work on yourself as a speaker. Public speaking is not about looking good. It's about being real. To be real, you need to feel real. So the best way to become a better speaker is to become a better person. You cannot disseminate value that you don't have. Where you are, the more you have grown. How many books you finished reading in a year? If you're reading books, you're growing. How will you take care of yourself? You value yourself if you take care of yourself. So you cannot disseminate value if you don't have that. On being nervous before speaking is natural. In going into the stage, the fight is no longer finding a story. It's no longer finding your speaking style. Before going into the stage, the fight is with yourself. In order to fight the nerves, when you're going to the stage, you must treat your speech as an obligation, as a sacred and valuable. That your piece of work that you're going to give your audience in that moment is the single most valuable thing in the world. And when you think about your presentation that way, suddenly you start thinking about this gift that you have for the audience. So before going to stage, first talk to yourself. Ask yourself, what is stopping you from giving this presentation? Why is so important? What is so important about this presentation that you have to give it? And why is this speech important? Remind yourself of the preparations how much it took to prepare you this. Tell yourself that the universe conspires to help you succeed. Remind yourself that you're ready and that peace that you're going to deliver is sacred and valuable. Third, remind yourself how much valuable you become over the past night. As we have said a while ago, a good speaker becomes valuable by improving themselves. A good speech is not written, it is rewritten. Tip number 4, own your accent. Accent is nothing to play around with. It's not about having a perfected mainstream accent. In public speaking, what is important is about being audible. Whatever accent that you have, you can still be audible by rehearsing. Give your speech time. That means you're going to rehearse for a quiet while for you to become audible. Tip number 5 is to speak across all cultures. So when you talk, assume that people know nothing about your culture. It is your job to make them understand. Speak the language of where I'm from. Then use general emotions. Give value to your culture. Let us discuss this in detail. First is, when you talk in public, assume that people know nothing about your culture. They don't know where you're from. Who are you from? And it's your job to make them understand. If you think that way, you're more deliberately in the way that you explain. It's easier to connect that way. B is to speak the language of where. Think of those things that you do in your family, in your community, in your culture, and transfer them to the language of where. Because when you speak using this language of where I'm from, automatically it sparks curiosity. This moment you speak the language, people feel that they've learned something and they walk away from it. Use universal emotions like excitement, empathy, resolve. So when you connect using emotions, culture, so you appeal to universal emotions. Your content, you appeal for excitement, for empathy, resolve, confusion, jealousy, remorse, guilt, and shame. Then give your culture a value. Next time you speak not as a generic number of the world. Imagine how much value you give in acknowledging that you belong to a family, to a community, to a nation, to a city, to a province, and to that culture. The world is hungry just of speakers from all around the world. Now is your opportunity. It's time to speak. So give the world a speaker from your part of the world. It all starts of how we view our culture and the esteem that we give to our culture each time we speak. Our traditional clothing needs not to be outfits. It is who we are. But if we have speakers demonstrate prior to that culture, we're make it easier to bridge cultures all over the world. Bring your culture to the world and the way you speak, using the language of where I'm from, even demonstrating how your culture behaves, how the culture dresses. That is telling testament to all of us, and it's a lesson that there is a world outside the suit, and there is a world from where people speak. These are the tips in becoming a memorable public speaker. Thank you, and for more contents related to professional development, subscribe this channel and follow webinar pages.
Thank you for watching. If this video has helped you, please click like, subscribe, and share in return. Thank you and mabuhay.